we're gonna do a stretch today. How about that?
Sounds fabulous.
All right, starting in your comfortable seat. Feel your sits bones grounded into the floor. Feel your spine rise up. And then reach your crown up and then lean forward, creating length in the low back. Bring your hands forward and round down over your lap. Notice any places of tightness. Send your breath there. Notice if anything elongates while in this pose. And walk your hands back in, recross your legs so the other leg is in front. Blow your nose and we'll do the same thing. So reach crown of the head toward the ceiling. And find length in the low back, leaning forward, and then release hands down, round forward. Walk your hands back in. Send your legs long in front of you, feet flexed. Grab a hold of your strap. And bring the strap under the ball of the left foot. Now using your hands to create this movement, pull one side of the strap and then the other. Angle the foot side to side. Do you like this one? I love this one. And then press your toes away and pull back with the strap. And then bring the strap, hold both sides of the strap in both hands and circle the foot around and add some pull on it whenever the toes come back towards you. And the other direction. Release the strap, wiggle out the feet. Notice if you feel a difference from one side to the other.
I'm getting much better at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Have we talked about how foot mobility directly relates to hip mobility?
We should talk about it again.
Okay. So foot mobility directly relates to hip mobility. So our feet are actually meant to be as pliable and mobile as our hands. And because we're constantly wearing shoes and walking on flat surfaces, they lose a lot of that. And so that translates all the way up the leg and reduces the mobility in the hip as well. So these exercises are really good for just getting that pliability back. And you can even, like if you wanna palpate your own feet, I mean, I do this when I do massage, but you know, I'll check out like how stiff a person's feet are to start with and then do a little movement. So if you just do that movement with your strap and then you can feel the difference while you're sitting here, but then you can also feel with your hands like the change that happens, if that interests you. Now bring your strap around your other foot, under the ball of the foot or at the ball of the foot. And pull one side of the strap and then the other. And pause. Now press the toes away and then pull the foot back with the strap. Press and pull, press and pull. Now bring both sides of the strap in both hands and circle the foot around, pulling on the strap as the foot comes back towards you. And go the other direction. And release the strap, wiggle out the feet. Finding grounding once again in your sit bones, ground down, lift the spine up. And first pause here, close your eyes and notice like what part of you feels active, if it feels easy or if it feels difficult. If you have any tension or rounding anywhere. Then on an inhale, circle your arms up toward the ceiling. On an exhale, reach up, forward, and down, hinging over your legs. Breathe. Walk your hands in towards your body. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees out. And grab hold of ankles or feet. And butterfly, flutter the knees up and down. And then one more time, we're going to reach our torso forward and round over the legs. Rise up. Bring your left leg out and then around. So you're in this half pigeon kind of pose. And you can play with this back heel. It can be closer or further away from your hip. Where do you feel stretched just in this position, or do you feel?
Here, maybe?
Okay.
I put my leg out further, it's up here.
Okay. So I like to come into this because just depending on how our hips are, we'll all feel stretch in different places. So I like to do this kind of just exploration. So come forward over that front knee and then walk yourself around like you're walking around a clock face and find, and you might even come backward, like find a place that feels like it would like to stretch. So you're exploring in your own hips, your own body, where you'd like to stretch, and then you can lean forward or back, wherever that is. Mine wants a quad stretch today, so I'm gonna lean back. And rise up. So we're gonna switch out the legs. If available, press down with your shins to lift your hips up. Nice. And then sit, and then switch out without using your hands, if that's available. All right, so now we're on the other side, and this may feel different because this hip is gonna be different, but do that exploration again. Coming down, around, finding what wants to be stretched. Leaning back will create more of a quad stretch here. Leaning forward will be more of a hip stretch. And rise up. Let's do that one more time. Press down with the shins to lift the hips and settle down. Let's just do this quick little mobility thing. So then swing the legs around, press the shins down, lift the hips. One more time each side. And release it down. All right, come on around to child's pose. So for child's pose, toes are together. If knees are together, it's more of a low back stretch. So just walk your hands forward and feel that. And then with knees wide, it's more of a hip stretch. So now widen the knees and walk it forward. And notice what you like better. So you can choose on any given day and any given moment, if you'd like knees together or knees wide. Gaze forward toward the hands and then walk them to the left off the mat. And then sink your heart back down for a right shoulder stretch. And hands back through center, and then over to the right. Sink it down for a left shoulder stretch. And back through center, and then come on down to your belly. First, we're going to come into Sphinx. So Sphinx is forearms down, palms down, elbows are under the shoulders. And then legs and feet are connected behind you, and tops of the feet are pressed down, pubic bone is pressed down. And those two, the tops of the feet and pubic bone pressed down, allow for lengthening of the tailbone back behind you, which creates a little space in the low back. So this is an active pose, particularly in the low body. And if you notice shoulders, like you're sinking into your shoulders, lift your heart. You can feel a contraction in your lats to pull your shoulders down. Now release your upper body down, bend both knees. Bring hands under shoulders, Press down and imagine that your toes can touch the crown of your head. Are you doing it?
Mhm.
Yeah, me too. Really feel this contraction in the back and stretch in the front. And release down. Straighten your arms and send them palms down out to your side about 45 degrees away from your body. Press down again with tops of the feet and pubic bone. On an inhale, lift your heart, lift your arms for half locust. And keeping length in the back of the neck, so don't crunch up to look up, but look forward a little bit and down. Make sure you're breathing. And release down. You can stack your hands, rest your forehead. Now for Cobra, bring your hands under your shoulders. Keep elbows in toward the body. And start again with that heart lift like we just did in half locust, so hands can hover off the floor. Feel that back strength. Then release hands down, again keeping the elbows in. Press the earth away to lift your chest. If you feel any pinching in your low back, bend the elbows to come down a little lower. Then shift hips back to heels, find child's pose. Breathe here. This can be a resting pose, or you can really activate the hands by spreading fingers wide, reaching the hands forward, and pressing down into the earth to create more length in your side bodies. On an inhale, rise up to hands and knees, tabletop. Send your right leg out to the right, toes pointing forward. I'm coming in for an inner thigh stretch, so you can come down to forearms here, or you can sink your hips back to heel. Find whatever sensation you like on that right side inner thigh. On an inhale, come back up to your palms. Draw that knee in. Shift the hips forward and back a few times to reset. And back up to tabletop, and then send left leg out to the left, toes pointing forward. Again, options here, you can come down to forearms, you can sink hips to heel. You can stack palms or fists to rest your head, or allow it to come down to the mat. And on an inhale, come back to palms. Draw that knee in. Walk your hands forward, one hand length. And send hips back to heel. Pause for a moment in child's pose, back to heels. Then shift your hips forward, up through tabletop with hands forward a little bit, and then hips down for Cobra. So you can move through these. Sending hips back to heels. On an exhale, inhaling the body up and shifting forward into cobra. Notice your shoulders, bring them down. And only do this if your lower back feels warmed up. Next time you come through cobra, pause here, curl the toes under, and lift the hips up for downward facing dog. Good, so in downward facing dog, the triceps are turning in and under, so you're getting support from like your underarms, and then your weight is in your index finger and thumb. Knees can be bent here, and you're pressing back into the earth so that you're sending your heart toward your thighs. Back of the neck is long. And again, you can walk it, sway it, balance it. Then widen your feet, step them forward a little bit and bring them to mat width. Walk your hands back and then sink your hips down for a squat. You can keep hands planted, you can bring hands to heart center, you can press out with your elbows. You can lift the chest up, which engages the pelvis more, work on balance. And release your hands down. Send your hips up, heel toe your feet in toward each other. Shift your weight toward the balls of your feet and relax your head down for forward fold. Gaze is toward the navel. Options here, like you're doing, you can grab backs of the calves, you can interlace opposite elbows. You can sway your upper body side to side. And release your hands down to the mat. Curl your tailbone under, roll your spine up one vertebra at a time. Shrugging shoulders up to ears and releasing them down your back. All right, step to the top of your mat. On an inhale, circle your arms out to the side and up. On an exhale, bring them together down to heart center. Connecting breath with movement, we'll do that a couple more times, circling up. Exhaling them down. Keep going, circle up. Exhale down. This time, circle your arms out to the side and up. On an exhale, hinge at the hips, dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reverse swan dive, flat back. Fingers in the air. And exhale, hands to heart center. So I'm going to have you go through that a couple more times following your breath. So I can still cue it if you need the shapes, but really more about connecting breath with movement. So on an inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, extended mountain. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more time through. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, extended Tadasana. And exhale, hands to heart center. Keeping hands together, pause here. You can close the eyes. And notice your mountain pose. Notice if your foundation feels stable, your feet. If you get a sense of grounding down into the earth. If not, is there something you could shift or move to create that support? moving up from that firm foundation, if you've made any adjustments to make yourself more stable, to feel more grounded, and take your awareness up your legs, hips. How do the hips feel? Are there any adjustments that want to be made? And then as you shift to the upper body, feeling the grounding down of the lower body, allowing for the lift of the upper body. Like your mountain is reaching toward the sky, toward the sun, or the moon, whatever you like. The stars, the center of the universe. Notice if you have any trees on your mountain, or snow, or desert, or cactus. And feel the peak, feel the crown of your head reach tall. On an exhale, open your eyes. On an inhale, reach up. Extended mountain. On an exhale, side bend right. You can release the right arm down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, side bend left. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus the arms, shift the hips forward, lift the heart, tiny back bend. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, down into chair, bend the knees, shifting weight to the heels. Inhale, half lift, bring hands to thighs or shins, flat back, 90-degree angle. And exhale, fold down, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, extended mountain. The peak is now the tips of your fingertips. On an exhale, side bend left. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, right. Inhale, up. Exhale, tiny back bend. Inhale, up. Exhale, chair, bend the knees. Inhale, half lift, find 90 degrees with your body. And exhale, fold. Pause down here, take some breaths. Notice if there's another version of front forward fold that you'd like. So you can also bring palms of the hands to bottoms of the feet. And press into your wrist with your toes. Give yourself a little wrist and hand massage. You can also grab the big toes. Pulling on the big toes will pull you further down. And plant the hands. Take a large step back with your right foot for a runner's lunge. And then release that right knee and top of the right foot down. And bring hands to thigh for crescent lunge. Shift your hips forward. Get a stretch in that right quad. And shift your hips back, straighten your front leg, lean forward, half split. And go through those a couple of times, releasing foot down, hips forward. And straightening that front leg, hips back, lifting those left toes. And keep moving through. Lengthening the front of the right leg, the back of the left leg. And we'll meet in that crescent lunge, so hips are shifted forward. Release your hands back down to the mat. Come up on the toes of your back foot. If you want to try it without your hands, you can. Then lift up, whoop, off that back knee. Nice. And keep that right hand down, because that's where we're going anyway. So bring right hand down. Left hand to left hip. And then twist open toward the left, toward that front leg, belly, ribs, and chest. Really feel that twist begin at the low spine. And maybe float those left fingertips up toward the ceiling. And you might even do a half bind here, bringing the back of your left hand to your right hip behind you. Gaze can be down, forward, or up. Forward as into the side. And unwind this twist, release both hands down. Step that right foot forward, find your forward fold. You can do something you've done before or try a new variation. And on an inhale, come all the way up to standing, extended Tadasana. Fingertips in the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. And release arms by your side, eyes closed. Notice your breath. Notice where sensation is going in your body. And exhale, your eyes open. On an inhale, extended Tadasana. On an exhale, side bend right. Inhale up. Exhale left. Inhale up. Exhale back bend. Inhale up. Exhale, bend the knees for chair. Inhale, half lift. Feel that core. Exhale, fold. This time, take a large step back with your left foot, and then release the left knee and top of the left foot down. And bring hands to the top of your front thigh. And shift your hips forward for crescent lunge. And straighten that front knee, coming up on the heel of that foot. Hips come back for half split. And roll between the two. So plant the foot, hips forward. Straighten the right knee, hips back. Notice if you feel a difference if you lift up the toes of that foot as you come back, yeah.
And this side is much harder.
Yeah. Balance-wise or stretch-wise or?
Stretch, I can't go as far back.
Oh.
I mean, I could do that,
Mm-hmm.
not the other side.
Yeah,
Finding it more difficult here.
gotcha. So this would be a good side to do a little extra bit of this on. All right, plant those hands. Curl the back toes under, float that back knee off the mat. Left hand stays down, right hand comes to your right hip. Then twist belly, ribs, and chest toward the right. Elbow comes up toward the ceiling, and then maybe fingertips follow. Really press back with that back heel. And unwind, bringing that hand down. Step that left foot forward. Find your forward fold of choice. And come on down to the mat, to your back. Feet planted, knees up. Widen your feet mat width. And then sway your knees side to side. And keeping that left foot planted wide, cross your right leg over the left. And then send both knees to the left for a twist. Now, option here, if you want to grab ankles, you can grab your top ankle with your left hand and bottom ankle with your right hand to increase the stretch in the legs, hips.
No, I cannot. Anybody watching this video?
And if you cannot, just be the surrender twist. If you have those ankles, let them go wherever you are. Bring knees back to center, uncross the legs. And re-separate the feet mat width. Now cross left leg over right. And both knees come to the right. And again, if you want to grab ankles, you can grab the bottom ankle with the left hand, top ankle with the right. And maybe gaze toward the left. And unwind back to center. Uncross the legs. Pull both knees into your chest. Maybe rock side to side. And send bottoms of the feet toward the ceiling for a happy baby. You can grab backs of the legs or outsides of the feet. You can rock the baby, roll the baby, stretch the baby, blow a raspberry, circle the ankles, massage your toes. Anything you like. And as we transition towards Shavasana, if there are any other shakes, wiggles, or stretches your body is craving, go ahead and take those now. And as you are ready, you can send legs long on the mat. And before fully settling into Shavasana, do another body scan. Notice if there are any areas of tension. And if so, is there any way you could create more ease? Maybe arms could be further away from the body, feet might be a little more separated, palms could be up or down. Shifting from doing into being. Shavasana. And bring some movement back to fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. And arms overhead like that first stretch in the morning. And pull knees into your chest. Rocking side to side. However you would like to come up to seated, come on up to seated. And draw hands to heart center. The light in me sees, respects, and truly reflects the light in you. Namaste.
Namaste.